Love, live, life. Life can be glorious and hideous. Stick your feet to the ground. Don't think you are counted out. Don't let the wind pull you and tear you apart. Let yourself live freely and love, and you'll be happy. No limits. Just keep on.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another Iron Will podcast with me, Shane Warner, and
John Chase.
So what this podcast is all about is we are trying to get stories from people that have been through a traumatic experience in their lives and came out a different person.
Yeah, they have all created an iron will. So what is an iron will? A burning determination that cannot be stopped or hindered by anything, willing to do anything to get a desired outcome, extremely resilient. So what we like to say is just keep punching.
Yeah. So sit back and relax, and we're going to start the show. And today we have Christopher Dittrich on the podcast with us. How I know Christopher is from Instagram, and he suffered a brain injury in high school. He got in a car crash. And so gonna have him introduce himself, but first I want to talk about Pure Spectrum CBD. So Pure Spectrum CBD is our first sponsor, and you can use the code IRONWILL to get 10% off of your order. So if you're interested in CBD, it's really changed my life. I feel a lot more calm, and I can recall words and stuff like that. So, but anyway, if you're interested, use the code word IRONWILL at checkout from Pure Spectrum CBD.
And we want to thank them too for being one of our first sponsors. I think that's really cool of them to help us out.
So I'm just gonna have Chris kind of introduce himself and tell you what he's all about. So here you go, Chris.
Fantastic. Thank you guys so much. Good afternoon from sunny South Florida. My name is Chris. I am from Princeton, right outside of Princeton, New Jersey, a small town up in the Northeast. Warm in the summer, cold in the winter. Growing up, I had your normal, I had a great childhood, great family, played sports all through school and stuff. Doing very well in high school. Had already applied to a number of colleges, and that brought me to March of 2008, March 3rd, specifically. As a senior in high school, my school allowed us each to go off the little campus for lunchtime. So we were able to
hey, Chris, can I stop you just 1 second? It keeps fading in and out. Like we're not getting a clear reception of when you're talking. It goes back and forth, like muffled and then loud, and then muffled and then loud. The levels look fine here, just we can't hear you sometimes.
Let me try one other thing.
Like right there, it sounds good. Like right there.
Yeah.
And now you sound muffled again.
How is it now? Is it better now?
Yes, it is.
That's great.
All right. Okay, good. Yeah, I'll keep the earphones out. Actually, the AirPods were not doing well, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, this is great.
It sounds a lot better.
Okay, cool. No problem.
So senior high school, 2008.
Yeah, it was senior year was going great. I was doing well in all my classes.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of taking the ride. Second semester senior year, I'd already applied to all of the colleges that I was looking to hopefully get accepted to. It was a Monday morning. I can't remember, of course, but I was trying to beat my friends to lunch. We was trying to go to Taco Bell, trying to get my chalupa first, I guess. And fortunately, I was the only person in my car, and I was driving fast above the speed limit. Let's just leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
And my car.
Were you racing people or what?
No one would ever admit to it, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
after my injury, of course, nobody would admit to, oh yeah, I was racing Chris and I'm okay. And he got hurt, but,
there's kind of an underlining like competition who can get there first when you're teenagers.
That was definite. That was definite. Yeah. I would have gotten some kind of points in the never-ending competition,
right?
If I got my lunch first.
Yeah.
Right. So my car flipped out of control again. I can't remember this time, but from what I've surmised, it was 2 lanes going each way, and I was in the far right lane. I flipped onto the roof of my car, and momentum took me across all 4 lanes into a tree on the other side of the road. The tree snapped in half, and my car ended up upside down with me. I believe it went right side up, but with me, thank God the seat belts in the Scion TC were great, and so. The first person to rush to the first person at the scene of my accident was the head EMT in my town, just so happened to be driving the other way.
Wow.
So, yeah, and he was the first one there, and he said that I looked like I was going to sleep, just taking a nap in the car, minus having a bloody nose. So, yeah,
But he couldn't see any physical, like, open wounds or...
Yeah, well, there were none. There were
okay.
Wow.
I didn't break any bones. I just hit my head really, really, really hard.
Sure. Did the airbag deploy?
Yeah, all the airbags worked, and that car had airbags underneath my legs, so it kept me from crunching up in the wheelbase.
Oh,
okay.
So I didn't break my legs or anything like that.
Wow.
Yeah, and had I broken my bones instead of the brain injury, it would have been something that wouldn't have lasted nearly as long necessarily.
Yeah.
But who knows? I could have ended up in much worse condition or dead.
So this was 2008, correct?
This was March of 2008.
Okay.
Yes. And again, I was knocked out. Then I spent about 3.5 weeks in a coma.
Yeah.
Per what the doctors say, and then from a coma, graduated into what is called a vegetative state, which I'm certain a lot of your listeners will understand. And so I can't remember anything from that time either. And go ahead.
Sorry. What was your last memory before your accident?
And to tell you the truth, man, it's all hazy before. So I don't have, I've relearned a lot.
A clear memory.
I've relearned a lot through pictures,
Yeah.
I've had tremendous family support from the beginning, so I was never left in a situation where I was wondering who I was or what had happened before. I was always around my family, so they were talking about the trips we had been on. I'd gone with my family to Egypt 3 months over Christmas and New Year's, that 07 into 08, so 3 months prior to my injury.
That's awesome.
And like that, I struggle to remember.
Yeah.
But again,
so it goes that far back, huh?
Oh, and way before that too.
Yeah.
But it goes back. I get everything back in pictures. It's hard to remember specific instances.
Yeah. Thank God for pictures, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, and thankfully, it wasn't anything like it is today. If I had suffered my injury today, I'd remember everything because everything is so well documented.
Yeah.
But that now obviously helps me since I've had my injury.
Sure. Yeah.
So when I really was back, when my brain could at least capture the fact that I was in the hospital. I'd been moved into the inpatient rehabilitation already. Because again, with no broken bones, there were no surgeries that were done, just keeping me, I had a tracheotomy, but minus just keeping me alive.
Did you have to have surgery on your brain to relieve some pressure?
No, I didn't know.
Okay.
Fortunately, again, I've got a little scar from where they had put a stent just to monitor my brain. Yes, exactly. But fortunately that my brain did not was not swelling to the point that I had to have any kind of craniectomy or whatever the name is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Many people in my therapy with me had those blue rubber helmets.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's because their skulls were not.
They gave me a hockey helmet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Jeez. Crazies.
Yeah, man. Wow. Do you remember, so like yeah, man, that would be really hard to not remember as much of your...
A big chunk of your life.
Yeah.
Again, it was, from the very beginning, so we had a whiteboard in front of my bed in the hospital, in the rehab center. My parents had put a whiteboard there because I was asking them the same questions over and over again because my short-term memory was gone at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so the first thing was the date, whatever day of the week it was. Then it was, Chris, you suffered a brain injury in a car accident, whatever. And then it would always change. Whatever info was under that was whatever question I was asking that day or that week. And then at the bottom, it was very interesting. I don't know why it was there, but it said, keep moving forward. That was at the bottom. Just keep moving forward. And I gave a speech about this in Singapore a couple of years ago now. The first few times I looked at that, I was wondering, I couldn't move at all. I was paralyzed. I don't know what my parents were thinking. But then I started to feel little improvements, physically I'm talking about. And that's...
I'm just curious as to what your brain was thinking during this time. Like, did you have dreams? Did you have visions, or what was going on?
At the beginning, it's very difficult to tell. I can remember. So the first vision that I remember is what I thought were nightmares, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
So I was being pushed, like where I was walking, or I don't know, but I was moving down a hallway. This is like the first thing that I can remember.
You can just remember that feeling.
Yeah, there were people around me, whatever. I couldn't react or anything. And then we'd get to the corner of the hallway, and I'd start to recognize it. And I'd start to feel fear. I remember this. I start to feel a deep-seated fear in my stomach, and then I knew right around the corner there would be the number 3024. I just knew it was going to be there. I knew it. And now years later, I know that was my therapy room.
Oh, okay.
So I thinking back, I don't believe it was a nightmare. I believe it was the first time that my eyes were opening and starting to have me not in what would be the vegetative state where I couldn't react. I couldn't talk or do anything.
But it's so confusing, like, to piece those stories together.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I don't know how to explain it.
Right. Exactly. But then that's why I bring up the keep moving forward, because since that time, that's what I've been worried about. Moving forward, going. So it's not the months that I lost in 2008, the year that I lost in 2009 while all my friends went off to college and I was stuck at home in outpatient therapy trying to get well enough to go to college the next year. It's the reason I was doing that. It's not stuff that was lost. It's what I gained from it.
Yeah.
Sure.
If that makes sense. So,
it does.
2009, I suffered my injury. I was born and raised in New Jersey. I worked to be well enough to go to college at the University of Miami. And obviously it was a huge deal. I had worked, and my goal for the whole outpatient time was that I wanted to be well enough to not have to use a cane or a wheelchair in college.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go to Miami with either. I wanted to be just like all the other students. And I worked really hard to get to a point where my family and I thought that I was there. When I got to college, I realized, wow, I was really still really far from being there physically and mentally. I struggled
I'm sure, like, going to college and learning new stuff and that kind of thing is like really taxing on your brain as far as your physical attributes go and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.